Moments and movements. My friends, this is going to stir some of you up. There are times in life when God will speak a word to you. And in that moment, if you say yes to God, it could start a movement. You have no idea what is on the other side of your yes. I remember when God spoke to my heart about starting an apostolic network, in that moment, I said yes. And now the Roar Apostolic Network was birthed out of a prophetic word God gave me. It was like a seed planted in my heart. It was put in my hand, and I had to say yes to it. In that moment, a movement was birthed. There's times that when I said, yes, God, I will do a YouTube channel. I will start a social media ministry. I remember a time that my wife and I were praying and we felt the Lord say, will you start a church in Texarkana? And I said no a few times, but then he came back again and he said, will you start a church in Texarkana? And in that moment, I said yes, and it's turning into a movement. Now, I want to talk to you about movements. Over the next, I'm going to say year, you're going to see more movements started, more movements planted. You're going to see more movements that you never heard about that may have already started, but they're going to have life given to them. Why is this? Because when you really study out the word ecclesia, it means a moving body. It's just not a stationary church in one city, but it is a moving body. There are so many people who are starting movements all over America that are going to be world known. You've got some that are movements on prayer, some that are on fasting. You've got movements that are trying to stop sex trafficking. You've got so many movements trying to do so many different things. You've got some movements trying to end homelessness. Some are trying to clothe the homeless people. Some that are going to do foreign missions work. There's a lot of people who are moving forward. But let me tell you where it starts. It is in that one moment. You have no idea. If you say, yes, God, I'll start a prayer meeting in my church. You could start a prayer movement in your own church by saying yes to that. You could just say yes to having a small group. You have no idea what is on the other side of your yes. You could step out and launch something. I remember when I said, yes, God, I'll write my first book. I didn't realize how much passion I would have for writing books. And then through that, some of our friends in Texarkana, they started doing all of the formatting, the editing, and they started doing all of the books themselves. And then all of a sudden, other people started using them to promote their books. Then my 13-year-old daughter, Malachi, just released her first book because I said, yes, God, I will write one book. Now I've got numerous books. I've got ebooks, and other people are writing books. And actually, we have our own publishing company right here that my friends launched out of me saying yes to one book. You have no idea what kind of movement you can create by saying yes to God in a moment. Now, when I go to prayer, I always go in with an open heart and an open ear and say, all right, Lord, are you going to birth some kind of movement today? Because whatever you say yes to, I'm rich soil. I'm a fertile field, God. You just say yes and you plant whatever you want to plant inside of me. And in that moment, when I say yes and the yes of my spirit matches the prophetic word from God, a movement could be birthed at any time. Last weekend, my wife, she launched Limitless Women's Movement. See, she didn't even call it a conference. She ain't got time to throw a conference because she's birthing a movement. And in your verbiage, don't limit things by secular mindsets and natural thinking. You're about to start a movement inside of you. I don't know who this video is for, but I'm going to tell you, there are going to be movements that are known around the world because this video is confirmation for you. Now quit watching this video and go out there and start your movement. Be blessed, my friends. And in that God moment, say yes. No telling what could happen.